Welcome to the presentation of the Living Museum Philosophy. Living Museum, a social utopia where art and healing meets. The first Living Museum was started in New York at Creedmoor Psychiatric Center. It was opened in 1983 by Bolek Ryczynski, a Polish artist, and Dr. Janusz Martin, an Hungarian artist and psychologist. On the picture, you see the Living Museum New York, photographed by Brian Albert. Here you see the entrance of the Living Museum in an Indian summer within the beautiful nature. The Living Museum is located on Creedmoor Psychiatric Grounds. It used to be a psychiatry where 7,000 patients were housed, but due to the social psychiatric reforms in 1975, they reduced the amount of patients to 700. That meant that a lot of these buildings were empty. Here you can see the kitchen and dining hall for 1,000 patients. It is the building of the Living Museum, nowadays building 75. This is Dr. Janusz Martin, the founder of the Living Museum. And here is a painting from Bolek on the right-hand side and Janusz on the left-hand side. That is Bolek Ryczynski. He created the motto of the Living Museum: use your vulnerabilities as weapon through art. The Living Museum is considered as fourth big revolution in psychiatry. First, after the first revolution, the restraint movement, the freeing of patients from their chains. Second, psychoanalysis and psychotherapy. And third, invention of psychopharmacy. Also, the World Health Organization brought out a study about the impact of art on mental health. Now I would like to take you on to a tour through the Living Museum New York. Here you can see it's like the entrance and the office of Dr. Janusz Martin. Here you can see the central hall, which was part of the cooking area of the formerly kitchen. And here you can see a lot of installation done by the Living Museum artists. Here there's the room of religion and spirituality. It's a room where all kinds of religious and spiritual artwork come together in one huge installation. Here's the music room. There's a band playing music all the time, and also they have like public gigs. And here's the beautiful garden inside the Living Museum. There's also one outside. Now I would like to introduce you to the Living Museum Philosophy, considered as a place of warmth. To create a stress-free environment is the most important rule at the Living Museum, because people with mental illness can't adjust to stress. People with mental illness mostly can't tolerate stress, so the integration into jobs of nowadays is very hard because they get ill again. So at the Living Museum, it's important that they can work in their own time and then there's no pressure at all. after being released from psychiatric institution, most of the time the patients stay home and they have nothing to do, and they just sit there and wait, which leads to illness again. So it is much better if they come to the Living Museum and they have a place where they can still work in their own time and fill it with the beauty of art. The Living Museum is considered as art asylum. The Living Museum uses the advantages of the old asylums, which were that there are peers that take care for each other, and there is friendship, there's respect, and there's a lot of things to do, and they run it mainly themselves. So also the peer support is the basic for being stable in psychiatric terms. The Living Museum turns around the idea of inclusion. Because society is not ready for inclusion yet, we invite the society into the Living Museum. The Living Museum invites society to come and join the Living Museum. If somebody stays one day, the person will get out transformed and see people with mental illness in a different perspective and see them with all their resources and their talents. And at the same time, it's a very solidaric community that is created by the artists there. Art and healing have a strong connection at the Living Museum. It uses the incredible potential of people with mental illness. They made experiences that other people did not have, and symptoms of mental illness and modern art almost overlap. At the Living Museum, we use the credo of the German artist Joseph Beuys, who said that everybody is an artist. But at the same time, especially people with mental illness have a creative potential, and a lot of different scientific studies have shown that. And you also can see it in famous artists like Vincent van Gogh and also many other artists. Most important aim at the Living Museum is the identity change. That you change your identity from mental patient to artist. That means a lot. Being seen as artist is very important to the mental ill patients, because all of a sudden they are somebody, they are seen with their resources and their talent, and their self-esteem rises, and it even leads to recovery. Here you can see the Living Museum artist Isa Ibrahim, who made a tremendous journey of recovery through the Living Museum, and is exhibiting now and selling his artwork, and became quite famous as artist in New York. Same with John Tercy here. He has an incredible power in creating artwork and is shown in many different exhibitions. So the caring community and the identity change lead to recovery and therefore healing for the involved persons. Now, to summarize, the essence of the Living Museum is that we celebrate the individual differences. We celebrate the fact that you made experiences that other people did not have, and it shows in the beauty of arts. We turn your vulnerabilities into your strengths through the artwork. And we acknowledge that you are the most brilliant artist in our society. After having visited the Living Museum New York, and with my own excitement about a project like this, I came back to Europe and was allowed to open up her own living museum in Switzerland in the year 2002. It has been the second living museum in the world, and all the people from the wards and the day clinic can access. Here we have the textile studio. Here's the ceramic studios, where we do ceramic sculptures. And here is the wood studio, and here's the paper studio. So we have a lot of different materials. Here also theater and music. And here is the Cafe Living Museum, which is a wonderful place because people with mental illness, they serve food, they bake and they cook for us, and we educate them how to cook healthy food, which is very important, especially if you take psychopharma medicine. And here in Switzerland, we also integrate the nature into the living museum. We work with the nature, with animals and with plants. Here you see the day center of the Foundation Heimstätten Wiel, which is also part of the Living Museum Wiel. Here you can see our caring community. A lot of different artists are involved, and if we create exhibitions, nearly 100 artists participate. Also, it was possible to innovate the first International Living Museum Academy in Switzerland, where we have trainees in art, in psychology, and also different professional backgrounds, and we train them to become International Living Museum directors. Here you see one of our huge exhibitions, which we could do in the old city of Wiel, and we could make installations and show artwork in all the window shops. And here we could do the first time an international exhibition together with all other living museums in the world called Transutopia. Here you see the exhibition inside. We had like 400 art pieces and installations, and it was wonderful to connect on an international level with all our other living museum artists. And which is also a new model is the Living Museum Collective POC, which was also invented at the Living Museum in Wiel, where they create not as individual but as a collective art installations and art performances. Here you can see them in action. They involve also the viewers, the public. Here is one of our fantastic artists, Philip. He considers himself as indigo. He has connections to the higher powers of the world, as he says, and it shows in his artwork. Here's Margot, also a very exciting artist who does incredible, beautiful artwork. And that is also one of our famous living museum artists, Christoph Brack, who started out without any knowledge in the arts, and his career as an artist is amazing. Also the same with Corinna Schleuniger. She came to the Living Museum and said she never painted before in her life, never did any artwork. And this was one of her first paintings. Or this one. She already had her own style and developed it and got own exhibitions, won the cultural prize of the city of Wiel. She became quite famous in Switzerland. And Janosch won the Dr. Schisler Award for his life project Living Museum, which was well deserved, and it was a great honor to me that I could join the celebration. Also, the Living Museum Wiel won the Swiss Diversity Award, which for our artists was amazing, and they were very proud that they could take the award. Janos taught me how to think grandiose for a good project. I had to learn this because I didn't know how to do that before I met him. If Dr. Janos Martin would run the world, there would be protected spaces everywhere for people with mental illness to create paintings and sculptures, drawings and lithographs, installations, murals and collages, poetry and novels, songs and symphonies. The abandoned buildings on the grounds of old state hospitals would be turned into sheltered workshops. Warehouses in urban centers where the mentally ill pace the streets and scrounge meals from garbage cans would become safe harbors, working studios filled with color and form. Delusion and hallucination, pain and sorrow, fear and manic exuberance would find their outlet in something quite simple, the creation of works of art. Janos' idea of mushrooming, of living museums all over the world, finally started. We already have now 24 living museums in the world. And there are more planned, and I hope that also you in the Ukraine can establish living museums, because these places are very important for people with mental illness. Here we have also created and founded a Living Museum Society that helps build up living museums in Europe and Switzerland with all our knowledge. And also Isabel Wachsmuth from the World Health Organization is helping in the process. And a lot of different supporters that you can see in the bottom help in the process, which is beautiful. And we need also you in the creation of living museums. At the end of the presentation, I would like to summarize the most important aspects of the Living Museum. It's a place of warmth for people with mental illness. It's an art asylum in a stress-free surrounding. It's a sphere of connection of art and healing. It is a possibility of identity change. It is a caring community. Art, identity change, and community lead to recovery. It's a refugee in nature. It's a place of diversity and inclusion. There's an International Living Museum Academy where you can be trained. It's an international art movement which spreads out all over the world. And we invite you to join the movement. Thank you.